Hello everybody, Cub fan here. It's Sunday morning. I got my coffee and a couple pickups from yesterday, and I got a contest response for Bluejacket 66. But first into the pickups. Well, yesterday we went to a holiday event about 45 minutes away from here, and that's in the same town that my not so local LCS is located, and they were open yesterday, but he was getting ready to close, so I got to spend about 5-10 minutes in there, which is fine, but it kind of got rushed out. So I was able to get some pickups for some projects I've been working on. I was able to pick up some 68s and some 69 decals, and a couple of them I was pretty happy about. Got the 69 Carl Yastrzemski decal, and did pay $2 for that, which is fine. And was also able to pick up the Roberto Clemente, and did pay $5 for that. And I should probably keep my list of which cards I need, because I also picked up this Felipe Alou. I was almost 100% sure that I needed that, but once I got home and checked my list, I did not need it. So there's an extra, but I'm pretty sure that one is in better shape than the one I already have. So that there's my list there. So I marked off the Yastrzemski and the Clemente. So I'm missing the Gibson, Mays, Crew, Tiant, and Robinson. And these are kind of a list of ones that are kind of damaged that I own that I probably want to replace. So I was real happy about those pickups. And then also picked up some of the 68 Topps game, and picked up the Joe Torre, the Claude Osteen, the Dodgers, and I did pay $1 for each one of these, and the Matty Alou. And I don't quite have a list of the 68 Topps games yet, because with the addition of these three, that brings my total up to 9. But the good thing about that is I do already have the Mays, the Mantle, and the Aaron, and I also have the Killebrew, and then pretty much these commons here. So that's a good start for that. I haven't made the list yet, but I'll get that one made. But for the contest response, when the Bluejacket 66, he's celebrating 250 subs, which is not surprising at all, because if you check out his channel, he has some unbelievable content and cards. I believe the very first video I watched of his was his very first video, and it was the 49 Leaf Jackie Robinson, which is just an absolutely unbelievable card. But some of the cards that he has is just unbelievable. So you guys really need to do yourself a favor and go check him out. But what he asked a couple questions. He asked pretty much what was your influence or your inspiration for collecting cards. And I've kind of told this story a couple times, but I haven't told the full story, and so I'm going to share it with you today. But in 1987, I was buying 87 Topps cards, and that's kind of when I became a collector. Every day for lunch, I was given $1 for lunch, and lunch was only 85 cents, and so I had 15 cents left over every day. And so every other day on the walk home from school, I could stop at the gas station and buy a pack of 87 Topps. And that's why 87 Topps is probably one of my favorite sets. But I started buying then, but it wasn't until I was 13, and it was like 1989, 1990. 89 would be it. Is that I had a great uncle on my mother's side of the family that also collected baseball cards. So when my grandmother told him I collected, he started putting away packs and cards of that nature. Because his son, Danny Cook, owned a couple card shops. He owned Who's on First in Champaign, Illinois, and Triple Play Sports Cards in Mahomet, Illinois. But I didn't know him. I never met him or anything like that. And it wasn't until that summer in '89 that we went to a family reunion, and my Uncle Doug, he gave me a box with all those cards, and my cousin Dan Cook caught wind of it, and he invited me over to his house, and he said he would hook me up with some cards that would set me apart from the rest of my my friends, and would help jumpstart my collection. And the reason I say Dan Cook is because he had some notoriety, because in that's his name, and if you Google Dan Cook 1990 George Bush baseball card, you'll get a link to People magazine, where in 1990 he had a lady come through his shop and sell him a 1990 top set. And in that set was a George Bush Yale baseball card. And according to Topps made 100 George Bush Yale cards, and they were all given to George Bush when he took office in 1990-91. And they were given to him, and there was a commemorative set, so there wasn't supposed to be any cards in circulation. And he came across one, and there were some lawsuits that followed, but People magazine did an article about him and his card shop and that baseball card, so that was kind of cool. But when he took me to his house, I had never in my life, and still to this day, have never seen anything like it. He had a temperature controlled garage in his backyard that had all of his cards in it. He had 2 spare rooms in his house that were just full of cards and boxes of signed baseballs and memorabilia. His living room was littered with binders after binders and boxes. He had a curio cabinet in his dining room that had Reggie Jackson's 1977 World Series trophy and his World Series ring. Still to this day, I don't know if they were real, but they looked real to me, and it was pretty cool. But he hooked me up with so much stuff, and all the 8x10 photos that you've seen in my room, autographed 8x10s, are all from him. He gave me an Ernie Banks signed baseball, and some of the cards he gave me some. This was '89, so the real popular players. He gave me some Don Mattingly rookies and some Wade Boggs rookies. He gave me some Sandberg rookies and lots of Cubs stuff and Cubs memorabilia, and he really jump-started my collection, and from that point I was hooked. So there's that. But if you want an interesting read, go Google that. It's just kind of interesting, the little article. I went and looked at it this morning. It's just kind of neat about all the troubles and tribulations that he went through just over one stupid baseball card. But it was kind of cool. And then the second question he asked, do we collect anything else besides baseball cards? And I'm sure I'm like everybody else. I am a baseball collector, so it's usually whatever tickles my fancy. I like to say that I collect the Cubs memorabilia, and it's recently kind of spewed over to just basically anything baseball related. I like it all. I like autographed pictures. I like autographed baseballs. I even like starting lineups. I do have a secret passion for starting lineups. I like bobbleheads. It used to be just Chicago Cub bobbleheads, but I recently, if I see them for cheap enough, I'll pick up just about anybody. I like the McFarlands and anything like that. So, yeah, I have a pretty extensive collection. Nothing too crazy or anything like that, but it's usually us collectors have addictive personalities, so it's whatever tickles our fancy at that moment we usually pick up. So there it is. If you haven't checked him out yet, please go do so. Bluejacket 66, 250 subs. He's going to be at 500 before we even know it, because his content is just unbelievable, the stuff he has. But if you haven't gone and checked him out yet, do yourself a favor and go do it. But that's it. Happy Sunday and enjoy the rest of your weekend.